Well, hello plant lovers, it is Matthew in Melbourne welcoming you to my channel. Thanks for finding me here in the crowded world of orchid YouTube videos. Well, here I am trying to grow orchids largely outside now because I don't have that much room inside. So generally cold, cool, intermediate orchids that can deal with Melbourne's outside temperatures and one or two that I'm very generous in having inside. Now, I'm in the midst of re-establishing my grow space, and if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that saga. We'll get to that maybe in a few weeks' time, still setting up. Anyway, today we are going to go back to the wonderful White Hill Orchid Nursery to meet the fantastic Mariana Hawkins, who has taken over her family nursery and is turning it into a wonderful enterprise. I've made a Cymbidium video with her, which I will link above, but there's two more to come, plant lovers, and today is one of them. Now, behind us is well, it is going over now, but it's a fabulous zygo that I bought from Mariana at, it was an orchid plant sale, and I can't remember what the context was, but anyway, that's where I first met her and got chatting and thought, wow, how amazing to find someone young and involved in the orchid trade professionally and taking over her family's nursery. So I asked if I could go and film. She said yes, very generously. So today, plant lovers, we're going to learn Mariana's tricks and tips about growing zygos, which has taken me 3 or 4 years to get to the point where I can actually get mine to bloom. Anyways, without further ado, let's go and meet Mariana and learn all about her zygo tips. Well, here we are at White Hill Nursery with Mariana Hawkins, who is a professional grower, and look at these Zygopetalums, putting mine to shame, Mariana. And in fact, I met Mariana at, what was the plant sale that we were at?
We were at the Nemos Winter Show, which is Northeast Melbourne Orchid Society.
And Mariana was there, and I thought, oh my goodness, someone under the age of 60 growing and selling orchids. And we had a great chat about zygos because it's one of those things that, anyway, we'll get to that. It can be tricky, but once you get it right, it's quite easy. So Mariana, firstly, how did you get into this magical world of orchid growing?
Oh, well, I grew up here. I grew up on the farm, and I've been helping mum and dad for over 40 years with the orchids. And I decided last year to take it on full time. So I now do this as a full-time job, which is exciting.
That sounds like bliss to me. So Mariana is working on your ecom website. So that's a work in progress, but you can follow White Hill on Facebook and Instagram. You do all of the fairs and the plant shows.
We do. At the moment, we won't be doing the Orchid Spectacular in Melbourne, but...
Won't you? But you do lots of others.
Yes, we do, yes.
I'll put the website below, and I presume you've got your calendar of where you're going to be on your website. Yeah. Now, firstly, I'm a bit distracted by the fabulous fragrance.
Isn't it beautiful? Yes.
Okay, so Zygopetalums. I've made a few videos about zygos. It took me forever to get it right. So here we are in your amazing nursery.
Thank you.
Everything I need to know about zygos. So firstly, the endless issue of black spotting leaves.
Yes.
So tell me your take on black spotting leaves.
Yeah, so it's something that the Zygopetalums develop when they get cold or when they haven't had a lot of airflow. It's very much a cold climate problem. So we find that the spotting happens a lot in Melbourne when you've got them outside and they're acclimatizing to their environment. So
right. Yeah. So it's specific to us because we're growing them probably slightly colder than they would ideally want. Yes. So to overcome it, what's your recommendation?
We recommend trying to protect your Zygopetalums as much as possible. If you know that the temperature is getting below 10 degrees, we recommend bringing them inside the house.
55 Fahrenheit?
Yes. So you can bring them inside in a sunroom or somewhere that's close to a window. In winter, it doesn't matter if it's indirect light or not, because the sun is not as bright in winter in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So just protect them from the really cold temperatures as much as you can.
And water on the leaves?
Watering on the leaves is not too bad. It's the black spot's actually a fungal spot, so you probably want to try and use an antifungal as much as you can with the Zygopetalums.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just talk about your growing conditions here. So they're outside, they're not heated, but you're in a shade house. So what are the sort of ideal growing conditions you think for them? For us here in Melbourne?
Yeah, so if you have a shade house, we recommend probably a 70% shade cloth, or a double 50% shade cloth, so somewhere that's protected quite a bit. You can grow them between other plants like your Cymbidiums if you have larger plants.
I was going to say, you've got a lot of Cymbidiums here, and we've made a video about your
We have.
Cymbidiums. So would you grow them in exactly the same area as your Cymbidiums?
The Cymbidiums grow mostly in the light, but if we do have some that are growing in the shaded areas, we'll put them near the shaded plants.
So these are slightly shadier
Yes.
than Cymbidiums. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is, what is it now? It's kind of late-ish winter.
Yes.
They're all coming into bloom. Is this the sort of classic zygo flowering season?
They can start anywhere from March, April. So we have a big lot of zygos that
Which is autumn here in the Southern Hemisphere.
autumn. Yep. And you can have them all the way through to November. Some varieties, such as the Izzy variety, can flower twice in the year. So you might have some in the start of the year and then the end of the year, double flowering.
Right, yes. Gorgeous. And they're nearly all fragrant, aren't they? I mean, it's one of their great pluses, I suppose, is that...
Yes. The species, though, are the most fragrant. So your Machiais are the ones that have the most fragrance. And then as you start hybridizing them, they do lose a little bit of that fragrance.
Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's get to other basic care. So potting medium, what do you pot yours in?
So we use actually a medium, we use the same potting mix that we use for our Cymbidiums, which is a medium bark.
You mix it yourself?
We mix it ourselves, yes. We recommend drainage, so if you've got perlite, we use polystyrene in ours. And then coconut core and coal is a really good addition.
Yeah.
So the coconut core will keep a bit of the moisture in summer,
Yeah.
and the coal will purify the bark as well.
Yeah, and I guess add to the draining as well.
Yes.
So we talked about potting medium. Now this, I can actually feel that this one is really bulging at the seams and wants to make a break for life. The one that you've got, you've repotted. So when would you repot a zygo in terms of what the plant looks like and what time of year?
Yes, so this one here, as you said, you can see that your new growths are at the edge of the pot.
Yeah.
So it's got really nowhere for it to go. It produced the new growth here for the flower.
Yeah.
When you're buying Zygopetalums, try and buy the ones that have the most new growths. Each new growth will produce a flower.
Right, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, so with this plant here, I wouldn't actually plant it in a larger pot because you can see it's very clearly showing there's 2 plants here. There's nothing in the middle.
Aha.
So I would divide that in half. And just slice all the way through the bulbs and the roots and then place them in separate pots.
Brutal, brutal. And what time of year would you do that?
We'd recommend around November, so springtime.
So spring. So the same time you might do a Cymbidium?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then fertilizing wise, what's your regime?
So we will fertilise our zygos with a slow release probably every 3 months, and then we use a liquid fertiliser at half strength or quarter strength from January to May.
Right, so that's all through summer, basically the warmer parts of the year. Yeah. Fantastic. The million-dollar question is fertilising. So you mix your own?
Yes, we do, yeah. So we grab all the raw ingredients and create our own slow release.
Yeah.
We use this with every single one of our orchids, from Cymbidiums to Coleogenes to Stanhopias. And we recommend every 3 months that you'll place a slow release on.
Right. And when you're repotting, do you mix it in with the bark as well?
Yeah, because our bark is so large, we usually put it just under the surface and then put one more layer on the top. Yeah. Or if you forget, which I often do, I'll just put a small teaspoon on the top and tap the side of the pot.
There you go. So you can also buy fertiliser from Whitehill Nursery. Well, you were just talking about repotting this and slicing it down the middle. With the pseudo bulbs, can you propagate them in the same way that you would Cymbidium? So take one old, fat, juicy pseudo bulb and do a back bulb propagation? You
can, yes. The thing with Zygopetalums is that you don't want to twist the bulb like you do with a Cymbidium. So a Cymbidium you would twist left and right and it will come off the plant. Yeah. If you do that with a Zygopetalum, it will break on the node, so it won't grow a new plant. So you want to use I use a chisel. So you can, just like a carpenter. Yeah. So you want to place a chisel in here, or a knife, or secateurs are fine as well, and just cut it from the plant, and then make sure that you're keeping those nodes intact.
And is there any roots attached to that node that the bulb you're taking off?
Yeah, so if the roots are looking really healthy, I'd recommend leaving the roots on but cutting them to about 3 centimetres. If they're looking a bit manky, then you might want to cut them all the way to the bulb.
Right.
Yeah.
People often have concerns about Zygopetalum roots, that they're super sensitive, that you shouldn't touch them. What are your, I mean, you just described cutting them.
Yes.
What's your Zygopetalum root experience?
Yeah, so they do have some beautiful white roots in there.
Yeah, really strong, fleshy, chunky roots.
Yeah, so if you've got a really large plant like our large one back here.
Yeah, look at that. Those bulbs are the size of a very large orange.
Yes, they are. That will have a lot of root growth. So I would actually cut about a third of the roots off the bottom if I'm dividing that plant.
Right.
And then I would shake it and hold it from the leaves to get the rest of the bark out. You don't want to really touch those really nice white roots that are sitting there.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. This looks amazing. Well, I'm fascinated by this. So here is your zygo back bulb propagation. So this tray, when did you do this one?
We did this in June, so this is very recent.
Oh, so just a couple of months ago. And there were some roots attached to these bulbs?
No, this one we completely removed the roots. We also cut the top of them that you can see here.
Yeah.
Almost completely off. But you want to leave a little bit because with Zygopetalums, they might grow a shoot from the side or they might grow it directly from the top of the bulb.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Now, I've got a tray that you prepared earlier. And in fact, when did you prepare this one earlier?
That one is from May 2024. So that's been growing for just over a year.
A year.
Yeah.
So a little slower than Cymbidiums in terms of...
They should be a lot bigger than that at this stage, but they generally, we'll be able to put them into the new pots after a year of growth.
Right.
So these are ready to now be repotted.
But really, really beautiful little plants coming along. And now this one here, look at that. So how old are these?
So this one is actually, it's not telling me how old this one is. I would say that's probably a year and a half old, or maybe even 2 years. The reason is it's already creating bulbs from its original growth.
Yeah, I can see. So you've got little secondary growths coming out from your regrowth. Wow. Yes. So you would then just take this out of the pot,
yes,
shake off all the medium, and then individually pot each of those plantlets.
Yes, I would take it off the original bulb as well. So the original bulb's done its job. I would remove that from its original bulb.
Oh, I'm too frightened by all this. This is all sounding too tricky. But anyway, yeah.
And you can then repot that original bulb and it may grow another plant. So it will keep on growing from each of its nodes.
Constant upcycling.
Yes.
And then just in terms of pot size, I guess, here are some plants that you're selling. So you've got quite a generous pot in relation to the size of the plant.
Yes, I do. So that's about a 5.5 inch pot.
Yeah.
And you can see that the new growth is in the middle of the pot.
Yeah.
And it'll keep on producing its plants forward. But you don't want to place it in a too large pot. You wouldn't choose an 8 inch, for example.
Now, we were talking about Cymbidiums and when you could expect flowers from a back bulb, and you were saying kind of the same time span as a seedling. Yeah. What about zygos when you do a back bulb propagation?
It should be around about 2 years, 2 to 3 years for a Zygopetalum to flower. They're very readily flowering, so they flower.
You can say that. It took me years to get my plant to flower anyway.
Yeah, but you might find now that it's used to your area that it will flower for you each year.
I think it's probably used to me and I'm used to it. So we found our happy space. Well, so I had this question. My Zygopetalum won't flower, Mariana. So what would you suggest people need to maybe think about if they've got a plant and it's more than a year old, so you've had the chance to do a flower cycle and it hasn't? What would you suggest to them to think about if your plant isn't flowering?
Generally, if an orchid isn't flowering, it is to do with light and it is to do with the sun and how much light it's getting. So we do want to give it as much sun as possible, even though I was saying to put it in a shady area while it's in the dormant stage. You want to give it as much sun as possible to tell it to reflower.
Yeah.
So with your new growths, when you see them that they've grown past the halfway point, start giving them as much sun as you can, even if it's filtered sun. Some of our growers in Melbourne grow them inside, so you want to give it direct sun with a curtain if possible.
Right. So it can be grown inside as an indoor plant.
Yes.
Fantastic. Watering wise, regime. I mean, I've heard it say that you can't overwater a zygo. What are your thoughts about watering?
I agree, you can't overwater a Zygopetalum. However, they really don't like having their roots wet. So if it is sitting in water, even after 2 days, it will start rotting. So they're very quick to rot.
So no saucer and free draining mix, but plenty of water.
Yes, they do like a moist bark. So we're looking about once a week to every 10 days in winter, and once a day to once every second day in summer.
Right.
Yeah.
So like your cymbidiums.
Yes, exactly.
So we've spoken about black spotting. Any other problems, sort of from a pestilential perspective?
I think we were talking about if the leaves get damaged, we will often cut off the leaves.
Yeah.
Orchids naturally lose their leaves anyway, and if it has a lot of damage on a leaf, it's better to cut it and let it concentrate on the flower or the rest of the leaves as well.
It's more aesthetically pleasing too.
It is, very true.
Now you have got a raft of zygos. So once again, your e-com site is a work in progress, but
Yes.
people can come and visit you. You're here to dispense your wisdom.
We are,
Mariana,
yes.
as you did to me at the other orchid night. So thank you. Fantastic blooms. So this is kind of peak zygo time in terms of coming to find a flowering plant.
Yes, they're all starting to have their flower stems at the moment.
Yeah.
So we have a few in flower. They will be flowering from this time until around about November.
Great, wonderful. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
There we are. Isn't she fantastic and such a font of wisdom? And always interesting to hear how people grow orchids. Of course, it is not the same for everyone, so you've got to find your own way. But Mariana obviously is growing them professionally, so she has found the way that works for her. Might not be the way for you. But anyway, I'm going to take lots of her tips on board. Look at that gorgeousness. No, this is just about gone, so there's no fragrance. But anyway, this is a very healthy plant from her. Well, plant lovers, many thanks for watching. If you want to know what I'm doing next week, I'll tell you. It is another visit to Mariana, but this time talking about the other aspects of the plants that she grows in her nursery. So join me next week as we head back to White Hill Nursery, and it was a very foggy, chilly morning, to talk to Mariana again about the other things that she grows. But until then, I hope all's well in your world, and I look forward to seeing you next week.